Oh, well, hey everyone. Wow, what a week it's been for 9th edition. It looks like we got everything. Is there really anything to speculate about? Maybe there's a few things we can. Right after this, quick intro. Hot damn, we got it all. We got 9th edition is finally here. Unofficially, that's speaking, and then sort of officially speaking, because Games Workshop did go out of their way to spend an all-nighter putting up the basic rules in a PDF form for everyone to read because they were forced to, because unexpectedly, someone got really pissed at Games Workshop or decided to say, hey, I don't care if I'm a playtester, I don't care if I've got advanced copies, I'm just gonna post all the rules right now, even with crazy watermarks so you know exactly who the playtester was. And then added to that, we had someone from 4chan that was one of the leakers add some very colorful language to the leaked advanced rules, which I do have linked in the description below, which is a post to Blood of Kittens where you can get all the rumors, all the leaks, everything possible for Warhammer 40k 9th edition. So please, if you like to get those rules, I'm sure you've seen them, I'm sure you probably have already downloaded, but I made them in a nice PDF form, so please go grab those if you want to. Like I said, the link is down below. And if you're at that, why don't you go and like and subscribe to this video as well? It'd be fantastic. But we're done. I'm done here. We're not going to do any more speculation. Well, this video, I should say, is the final speculation video because we got everything. And even as we speak today, they announced that 40k Daily is gone out the window on Twitch. So they're done. Looks like GW is done. They're probably a little pissed. I'm sure they were going to end the show this week anyway, but maybe they were supposed to end it next week. But since everything's out, there's really nothing for them to talk about. So let's just have at it. Amazing news, we got the rules 3 weeks in advance because it looks like we got an announcement that the box set will be released and the rules will be released on the 25th of July, which is what I've been predicting happening, and it came to fruition and it did. So there we go with that. Okay, let me take a break. Okay, so that's out of the way. We got the rules, that's been out for a couple days now. Now let's talk about what this means for the game going forward and what I feel like is a kind of undiscussed topic when it comes to 9th edition, because while everyone is scrambling on YouTube to get up previews, quick 9th edition games, tactical kicks and all that stuff that of course within 6 months from now won't make a difference because the codexes will be out and they'll change the rules and you know people will cry and something will happen. But let's talk about the crying because we're in a very strange situation because of, you know, the big giant global thing that's going on. We are in a situation where the meta for Warhammer 40k will not be really clear. And what I mean by it not being really clear is that there won't be any major tournaments to determine what's good and what's not good. We're kind of going back to like a mid-2000s, kind of like, I don't know, I want to say forum universe where people are going to be on Facebook to saying that, no, this is terrible, this is good. You know, gaming groups that are local are going to be fighting out amongst themselves about what's good and what's not, but they're going to only be able to play themselves. We're not going to really get an international feel or even a national feel if you live in America on what's good and what isn't good. There's going to be a lot of debate and a lot of back and forth, which in general is really cool and really great for the game because there won't be any definitive, this Iron Hands army or whatever you're going to say is the best thing. So I'm kind of excited about that because until, I guess, let's just assume that the Las Vegas Open is going to happen because they did have ticket sales this week and they have contingency plans if it is canceled. But let's assume that it's going to go on. That means we're probably not going to have a major event between now and then, thanks to the resurgence of, you know, what's going on. We won't have these giant events. And in fact, Nova was canceled the week before. So like I said, the meta is going to be so crazy in this time. We're not going to know what's good and what isn't good. And the other crazy thing is how people are going to play these rules. They might have regional rules links for people that are going, oh, I'm going to play the terrain rules this way, or we're going to use more dense cover in this area of the country or this area of this other country. So it's going to be just so strange, and I'm just really curious to see how this is going to be played out. And then when everyone actually gets to a national stage or a global stage event, what's going to happen? People are going to be like, well, no, that's how I interpret the rule. No, that's how you interpret the rule. Because before we'd had events and then GW would respond with FAQs being like, okay, no, that's how this works. But now, well, who are they going to believe? I guess they're going to have to believe the playtesters, which, on a second note, why don't we just jump into that right now? Playtesters. Well, I mean, I don't even want to call this a rumor, but let's just say because of this leak, the playtesters are probably on thin ice right now, or at least a group of them are on thin ice. And even I have a post about this a month ago about the dangers of the playtesters, that this is the playtesters edition. So if 9th edition craps the bed, you can look at the playtesters being the first thing to go. And in fact, if they're not already going to be very highly scrutinized, I'm guessing we're going to get a cut in the number of playtesters, since this playtesters group was pretty much dedicated to making 9th edition what GW says is the best edition ever made by playtesting the heck out of it. But we'll have to see. I'm curious if this leaker that posted the rules originally for 9th edition is going to cause a total snowball effect where we get the playtesting team cut down, or just a select few are chosen. Okay, enough ragging on the poor playtesters. I'm sure they've had a rough couple last days with who is the culprit on leaking this information before they were supposed to. So let's move on to the speculation part of this video, which is just basically where I think the game is going to head in the next 6 months, which I will, of course, be wrong completely, as everyone that's posting any videos, even the playtesters, are going to be completely wrong, because we have no clue where the game's going to be in 6 months, let alone if we have a planet to live on in 6 months. We'll see about that. So let's talk about what I think is going to happen. As I've been saying throughout since the first couple weeks, MSU, it's king. And with the reveal of the secondary missions and the missions in general, it's pretty clear that since killing is going to be greatly reduced, the reason to kill, like with kill points and that sort of thing, is no longer really a viable strategy, just to kill to get enough points. You're going to be incentivized to play small units, because who cares if I lose 10 5-man units? As long as I score the objectives, I win the game. So you can spam as many small units as you want, and I think that's going to be the best strategy, at least in the beginning, is just flood the board with as many cheap units as you possibly can, and hopefully, if you can, have them be slightly durable. So that I'm looking at you, Space Marines, you have Intercessors, which are, as we've got the leak point scores, is only 20 points. So they're back to their original starting point cost at the beginning of 8th edition. So if everything's getting point cost adjusted accordingly, they're going to be still fairly inexpensive for what they do, especially with all the different chapter tactics and buffs you can give them. They're just going to be nasty. And then you add in, the assault intercessors, which are also troops. So they're going to be objective secured. Space Marines are looking good. Anything at MSU, durable, or if you can just spam millions of small 5-man units, you are going to be looking super pretty. And I'm not changing my theory on that. Though I have been seeing on various videos, and just by Playtester talking about the edition, that they're saying this is actually a very shooty edition, I am going to stick to my guns and say, no, this is an assault edition. And the reason why I say that is because the meta is going to shift in such a way that either Games Workshop is going to be forced to change terrain rules because people are going to complain too much, because the terrain rules, as I've had predicted before, while are clear and concise and make sense, I believe that they're going to favor certain armies and super builds way too extremely, and that's going to cause people to freak out and force a change at GW in the terrain rules. Or second, players are going to make new terrain that is going to be effectively neuter this sort of thing. So what I'm talking about is we might have people build terrain so that even if you're in the terrain, now you can see through, but if I still put walls on the other side of that piece of terrain, you can't see through walls, and that's how it's going to be. And now people have rules where it'd be like, okay, yeah, you can see through this angle if I touch the terrain, but you can't see through that. It's going to block line of sight. So I feel like people are going to adjust the rules in ways that they can make sure that I can hide a unit behind something without fear of me getting hit by some shooting if people just entered that piece of terrain. So that's my theory. I'm going to stick with it, and that means that Assault will be able to make a comeback, even with all the random little nerfs to Assault, like, the big one that no one's really talking about is that if you get into a charge, the first activation after all charge units have gone, the defender gets to pick a unit instead of the attacker gets to pick an additional unit. So that's negative to Assault. Of course, people are talking about I just can't declare everything within 12 inches and charge and hopefully get in. I don't think that's a big deal. And especially if people run, like I said, a ton of MS units that are nasty in combat. Hello again, Assault Intercessors, hello, veteran Vanguard squads, hello, elite like 5-man Terminator type of squads, that sort of thing. They are going to be devastating, and they're going to be able to spam and charge multiple units. So basically, you're just going to do the same thing. Instead of taking like a 20-man Genestealer cult, you might take 2 10s and have them charge 2 separate units, or do something like that. So that's what I'm going to kind of see the thing is you're going to have smaller elite combat units are going to be able to tag different things, assault different things. And also, like I've been saying before, Blast is a detriment in close combat, you know? So I have a feeling that hordes are, while on the down low, down, I think there's gonna be a place for them. I think especially a place for fearless horde armies. So I'm looking at Tyranids. I feel like you can throw away a Gene Stealer unit and still have the Harmagants and the Termagants behind claiming objectives and holding objectives. As long as that objective secure unit holds an objective for a couple turns, if it takes a couple turns to kill it, and you're sending Gene Stealers and other units to take care of blast weapon things to prevent the horde from being culled, I think this is feasible. And especially if the whole game is about flying in the midboard, things are going to be tagged, things are going to be, and still, unless you have an army-wide ability, you have to, if you fall back, you still can't shoot, and that goes for all fly units, and that's really a big crutch. The nerf to fly really makes horde and assault a little more viable, I think, because now I can't fall back and shoot unless you're Ultramarines or a chapter or army that can do something like that. You're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck fighting the unit that charged you, and that can be bad. You know, there's only a few DACA tanks and things that can actually clear out a horde in close combat, and guess what? Tyranids are one of the few units that can do that. So they're going to have horde plus Carnifexes, which will be able to stomp, and you might see kind of weird Carnifex builds where half the guns are DACA and half the guns are close combat to basically be an all-comers type of unit. So that's where I kind of see the game going, is MSU dominate. I've been saying that forever. Horde, not as bad as people are saying. Assault, not as bad as people are saying. But like I said, it all depends on how terrain rules evolve, and I think they're going to evolve in such a pace that people are going to be like, I don't want to have this illusion of a shooting field, you know, or sorry, illusion of it not being a shooting field, where you see a bunch of terrain board, you're like, wow, I'm going to be able to hide, but in reality, everyone touches terrain and they can see everyone. That's just not going to fly in the long run, and I feel like the game is going to morph. Okay, so what do we have looking forward to the next couple weeks? Well, the big thing is points. I believe the playtesters and the advanced copy folks should be getting the points for everything that's not Space Marines, which was leaked, by next week. So we're going to start seeing actual real 9th edition games being played with the new points. So what I did though is I took a couple seconds to go and use the leaked Space Marine points and figure out what changes were made in my Space Marine lists. And what I found was just basically two things. You're going to lose a couple characters. It's just how it is. Between the army construction rules and the points increases, you're just going to cut out a character here and there. And it doesn't feel that bad. I don't feel like I'm losing that much utility, especially with characters being more targetable and more killable. I don't feel that wasn't that big deal. But the other big thing was that I noticed a lot of tanks, especially indirect tanks like the Whirlwind and the Thunderfire, went up on a lot of points. So, and this is also kind of across the board, there's a kind of a lot of emphasis on making tanks more expensive. So while GW was talking about how this is the return of tanks, everything's going to be awesome, they really did a number on making tanks more expensive because they feel that they're going to be so much more powerful, which, like I said just a couple minutes ago, I don't think they're as powerful as people are saying, really, because Blast I don't think is as powerful as people think. Especially if people are going to be running away from hordes and playing MSU. Blast doesn't really make a difference, and then if I can tag that tank and Blast is nullified, it's about the same place tanks were before. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at characters are being dropped because of construction and also because of points increases. And that's really all I saw so much. And I think that's going to kind of go across the board for almost all armies, that you're going to lose characters, lose 1 or 2 units at most. Maybe like 10 to 15% of your army is going to be less or smaller. And on the whole, that's not that big of a deal. And if you do look at the Space Marine point adjustments, there is actually units that got cheaper, in the sense that a lot of war gear got cheaper. So in a sneaky way, while they increased the points of certain units, they actually overall got cheaper because war gear got less expensive. I'm also happy that Games Workshop is returning to infantry unit has to pay this much points for a heavy weapon versus a tank has to pay this much points for heavy weapon. And on looking at that, you can definitely see that all vehicles that have to buy their heavy weapons are going to spend a lot more money. So, a lot more points. So that's where I think the game is going to go in the next couple weeks. We're going to get those points. We're going to see a lot of content from a lot of creators like Tabletop Titans, Tabletop Tactics. I suggest you go watch them. And, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next videos because speculation's over, but we'll see. I'll probably figure out something for our next week's video, but done with speculation. Let's play some 9th edition games. Let's have some fun. And if you like this content, please hit like, subscribe, And also, you know, comment. I do enjoy comments. For some reason, for the size of this channel, you know, being whatever, under a couple hundred subscribers, you know, people are watching, but you're not commenting. So hopefully you comment and get some dialogue going. So yeah, so please comment below. Check out my 40k leaks for 9th edition. If you don't want to, you know, wait for the rules to actually come in your physical hands, go and download those PDFs. I have them linked below in my Blood of Kittens post, so go do that. Like I said, link, subscribe, all that good stuff, and go play some 9th edition. See you guys later.